Welcome to day 2. So I'm just going to wait a little while till we get a few people on. So day 2, welcome. And we are going to be discussing about the body and how to communicate with it. And I'm going to give you some education and understanding what I mean by this. And before we do, I just want to ensure that each of you yesterday made a commitment to what you're going to learn. So you made a commitment to ask yourself a question, what you're going to learn. So we're just going to wait for a few people to come on. See if we can get this chat going. Hi, Monique. So we've got the chat going, which is awesome. So we're just going to wait for a few more people. The old way used to show you how many people were viewing. Doesn't anymore. It's really strange. So, hope you got a lot out of yesterday and you learned some things. A lot of that information is not widely available. And a lot of the information that I'm sharing, I actually share in my pain clinics. Hi, Chandel. So in my pain clinics, I share a lot of this information to help people rewire their brain, because when you're in a place of suffering, deep suffering, so people who are in chronic pain have generally been in deep suffering for many, many years, and some of them don't even recognise or realise that they have. And I was one of those people, and that's why I set up pain clinics. And the interesting thing is when you've been suffering for a long period of time, you actually completely rewire your brain to only perceive and see suffering. So yesterday, the information that I shared with you is what I share with people who have been through horrendous situations such as car accidents. I had a guy who'd been pinned by a truck and had like 4 failed surgeries on his back, and he'd been written off, and he's now back at work. And he did that 25 years ago, purely by rewiring his brain. That's what I do for a living, is I teach people how to actually rewire the brain, create new neural connections and pathways. It's called neuroplasticity, and creating new neural communities. So neural communities means, imagine a group of people. You're creating a group of neurons within the brain so that they wire on fire, because the more connection that they have within other neural pathways, the more chance that that neural connection will stay alive. So it's all through electricity. The more that you use something, and that's how habits are created. I'm actually going into deep studying about habits at the moment. I've been studying for about 18 months on habits, how to retrain and rewire. I'm quite successful with it with people. I'm just taking it to a whole new level at the moment. So maybe one day I might do some training on habits. So let me know if that would be something that you'd be interested in. Okay. Hi, Mina. That's interesting, John. Thanks for letting me know that it shows on your end. It don't show on mine. I feel left out. That's fine, Chandel. Hi, Kareen. Okay, so my internet's working. That's your little happy dance I do, or I do this one. And nice to see you, Sybil. Nice to see you, Lynette. Beautiful. So hi, everybody, and welcome to day 2. Day 2 is interesting, and for some of you, it'll be completely new concept. As of yesterday, like I said, some of this information you will know, but you don't really know it unless you actually embody it and practice it. Some of you will be practicing this information. Some of you, it'll be a gentle reminder, and some of you, this will be completely left field and you will never have heard of it before. So some of my private clients, I teach them how to communicate with their body. This is how I learned how to use my right leg again. So I had an operation that went wrong. I had a procedure which was supposed to help me, and in fact it had the complete opposite effect. So I'd learned how to walk again for the second time in my life, but I had horrific, horrendous pain. So they decided to do a procedure. Hi, Scott. They decided to do a procedure and kind of went wrong. It didn't do what they told me it would do, and after researching, I completely trusted the medical community. Don't ask me why. After so many terrible disasters, I don't know why. After so many terrible disasters, I still trusted the medical community because they know better than me, is what I said. But after this, I really started to question, and I was like, do they really know? Do they actually really know more than I do? And this is when I started to communicate with my body. So I spoke to my leg, and this might seem really bizarre, but trust me, this stuff works. And if you speak to anybody who's done amazing things with their body, they're actually communicating with their body. So I said to my right leg, I went, what's going on? What happened? And I asked for a long time before one day I got an answer. And really interesting. So I had this procedure and I just got the use of my right leg back. It weren't great. I was swinging my leg, but I was still able to use it. But I had this procedure done, and what happened was I lost the whole use of it. It stopped. It wouldn't move. So I was telling it to move, and it wouldn't move. My brain's telling it to move. I'm telling it to move, and it won't move. So after a few days, I was talking to my leg, and I was saying, I need you to move. And it twitched a little bit and it moved slightly. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And then the more I kept talking to it, the more that I could get the movement back. Eventually, I created the neural connection. So I think what happened was, and I'm not a doctor and I've spoke to doctors about it, and they're not too sure. They're just saying, oh, you know, what happened was it was a muscle memory. It went back to the worst state. That sometimes happens with this procedure. So it went back to the worst state of where it was when you couldn't walk, and you lost all of the muscle memory, what you'd built in that time after you'd learned how to walk to when it happened. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But when I said to him, I said, well, when I communicate with my leg and I'm talking to it, it's helping it. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, what can happen is you can be talking because part of your brain is part of your body. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? They said, well, part of your brain here has your leg, your arm. And when you're talking to your body, you're actually talking to your mind, but you think that you're talking to your body. And I'm like, okay. And I thought, well, this doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? So I thought, right, I'm going to look into this myself because it's over my head. So I did some studying on it, and I studied with some amazing guys from NOI, and it's they're ex-physios that teach people about smudging. So what happens is when you've had pain for so long, your brain can't differentiate between maybe your leg and your elbow. It all depends on how the mapping is in the brain. As I said, I'm not a scientist. I'm not really interested in the science behind it, but I just want to give you some context. So the elbow, say the elbow and the leg, so it's right here, the elbow and leg are next to each other. You might have pain in your leg and you might have pain in your elbow, but it's because your brain doesn't know what's hurting. So it's sending the pain everywhere. And this is called smudging. So what happens is a smudging of different limbs happens in the body. And that's what's called fibromyalgia, when this smudging happens at a rate that's so intense that the whole body starts to hurt because the body doesn't know what hurts anymore, nor does the brain. So what I want to teach you today and what I want to share with you is when you talk to your body, you can get the answers, okay? When I spoke to my leg after a while and I said, why has this happened? It said, there's no connection. I'm like, what? No connection. There was no connection between my brain and my leg because the smudging had happened. So I just had pain, but there were no neural pathway or connection or nerve because the main nerve in my leg had been damaged and it had reverted back to the worst damage. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, what do I need to do? And it said, you just need to imagine that the nerve, and this may sound crazy to some people, but remember, this was months of me talking to my body. It said, you need to imagine that that nerve is healing. So I started to do meditation, imagining that the main obturator nerve was healing. This is how I started communicating and talking to my body. I was asking it questions. Now, this takes a while and a lot of practice. But what I'm going to share with you today is a very fast and quick way. You can actually get answers from your body very quickly, and it can be in a yes, a no, or it can be light or heavy. So you don't need to ask complex questions. This has taken me years of studying this to find this out. I get a lot of answers, and I can communicate with other people's bodies as well. I'll explain that in a moment. Sounds a bit crazy, I know, but it's a skill that I've learned from communicating with my body for such a long time that I can communicate with other people's bodies. I will explain that in a moment. So what happens is you can communicate with your body just asking a simple yes and no question, and you will get an answer of yes or an answer of no. Or what will happen is the truth is light and the false is heavy. The truth is light and the false is heavy. Okay? So you can ask your body a question, but the secret that people don't share with you is your mind will get involved. Remember what I said yesterday? Your mind wants to be in control. Your brain wants to be in control of everything. But your mind and body, you are in control of. So you need to ask permission of the mind. You say, mind, do I have permission to speak to the body? Because if you ask a question, the prefrontal cortex will kick in and it'll want to answer the question, and it'll be the mind that gives you the answer. Okay? So hashtag live if you're live. Thanks, Danielle, for reminding me. And hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. Just gives me an understanding of how many people we've got live, because I aren't getting any numbers. Okay, so is everybody with me so far? Drop in a Y or a yes to let me know that you're with me so far. Just move your computer. Is there a delay? Perfect. Brilliant. Right, so now I've got a few coming through. That's good. We're all getting it. Perfect. Now, this is where you can completely change your life if you master this skill. So you go, glass of water in the hand. You say, mind, do I have permission to speak to the body? You will get a yes, a no, or a light or a heavy feeling. Remember that. Usually with the mind, it's a yes. We did, Judy, we did do that with your ankle. That's exactly right. Perfect. Okay. So you've got the answer. Wait until you get the answer. So it'll be a yes. It's very rare that you'll get a no. I look like I keep freezing. This is weird. So yes. When that comes up, then what happens is you go, okay, what question do I want to ask? Do I need a body? So remember, command body, do I need a drink of water? Now, I got light and a yes. That simple. Life is simple, it's just not easy. It's that simple to speak. It's that simple to speak to your body. That simple. You just say, mind, do I have permission to speak to the body? Then what will happen is the mind will move out of the way because it thinks it has to solve all your problems, answer all your questions. okay? It thinks that that's what its job is. So remember that you've got to ask permission. Mind, you have permission to speak to the body. Then what happens is you then communicate with the body and ask a simple yes and no. Yes and no, and that's it. Until you advance your skills. So do I want a drink of water? Yes, I do. I got a light feeling, I got a yes. Practice this. The more you practice it, the more you'll communicate. This information is not shared with you because if you can communicate with your body, then you don't really need to see many people because you will understand what's going on with your body. Not only will you understand what's going on in your body, you will also know what it needs. It will tell you. Once you build this skill set up, it will tell you what it needs. Now, if you have that much power, think about it. You don't need many people. You probably don't need medication because if you're asking your body, should I take this tablet? You'll get an answer. So I want you to really think about this, why this information is not shared. Now I'm going to share with you how I can communicate with people's bodies so you can understand. Mobile phone technology, radio stations, all of that has been pretty much taken from how our bodies communicate. We're just not being told. So what happens is you dial a number and you call someone and it knows to call that phone and they receive the signal. No different. I'm able to tune into frequencies of what your body is sending out and communicate with your body. I know the language. I know how to interpret it, and I'm able to communicate with your body and it tells me what is going on. And that's what I do with a lot of my clients. So a lot of people on here have experienced that. Sounds weird, but it really isn't. It's no different to a radio station. I tune into the frequency of your body. Your body then, I ask your body questions and it gives me the answers. I'm just able to interpret it. It's a skill set. That's it. It's a skill set that I've learned and I've mastered, and I'm very, very good at it because I learned to use it on my own body first. Everything that I teach and show is everything that I've used myself. And if it hasn't worked for me and I can't find anybody else it works with, I don't use it. I test and measure everything that I share. Everything. So, perfect. So, in summary, what you've learned today is you've learned that you can communicate with your body, and you communicate with your body through asking it questions. Very simple yes and no to begin with. It takes time for your body to trust you as well. Remember, some of you may be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years of age listening to this. You do something like this, it'll be like, what? You've never asked me a question before. You've never even cared before. So your body might not be that open to sharing with you. Also remember that you have a lot of mind chatter, and if you don't ask your mind to step back and speak to your body, you're not going to get true answers. And remember that your mind will manipulate the answer. So if you don't ask permission, it will manipulate the answer. Okay? Also, what you've learned today is the reason as to why this information is not shared. And I'm sharing this information because you know what? I've reversed 3 diseases. I've learned how to walk again 3 times, overcome anxiety, depression, PTSD, suicidal thoughts, all sorts, 2 nervous breakdowns. And everything that I've done is through natural remedies. I've not used many supplements. I've used some supplements, and there's a couple of supplements that I do recommend, but obviously I'm not a practitioner in that field, so you can only take this as me as a friend sharing that information with you, okay? I'm not insured, and nor do I want to take responsibility or be liable for anything that you're taking. But what I will say is I don't really use supplements. I believe that a lot of supplements out there, you urinate out and you don't use most of it. And if you use this information that I've shared with you today, you will know exactly what you need to take and what you don't, just by simply holding. Do I need to take this tablet right now? Now, don't be doing this with medication that you're on by a doctor. Again, I'm not covered and I'm not a general practitioner, nor am I medically trained. I have to cover myself, okay? So if there's a supplement you can check. If there's bread, should I eat this or not? Anything that you're picking up, you don't need to go get these tests done. Your body knows. It is so intelligent. If there's one thing that you take away from this today, please know that your body is so intelligent. It knows exactly what it needs, when it needs it, how much it needs. You don't need nobody else telling you. You just need to know how to communicate. That is what is not easy. It's simple. Everything I teach is simple, but this is not easy because the mind gets in the way and it takes practice, okay? And the chances are you won't practice. 99% of people don't practice the things that they're taught. But you know what? You're showing up here. I trust that you will, okay? So, tomorrow we're going to be covering a different subject, and I've forgotten what it is. I think it's dreams. I believe it's dreams. I believe that I'm covering dreams tomorrow. I'll have a look. I should have looked, shouldn't I, beforehand? I was so organised yesterday. I had everything in front of me. And I knew what I was going to talk about. But I think it's dreams tomorrow. I will post in here what it is. You'll get it on your email. So if you haven't shared your email with me, just to let you know what's happening is I'm downloading this video and then I'm sending it across with the golden nuggets. And the golden nuggets is what the main lessons are. Because this video is freezing pretty badly and I'm really sorry about that. Okay? Don't know what's going on. I live in the Blue Mountains, so it might be something to do with the reception. So, tomorrow, I believe that we're going to be talking about dreams. I'm going to go with its dreams. It might not be. That might be day 4. But what I want for you to know is that no matter how bad your life feels right now, I have been somewhere similar. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is no matter how low you go, there is a way up, always. So trust yourself and take from this what you want to take. Sometimes you might not believe in what I'm sharing, and that's okay. Find the truth for you. But I promise you that everything that I'm sharing, I've trialed on myself. And generally, if it's not worked on me, I've not used it. Okay? Or it might be the powerful tool. Look at me, I'm thinking now. I'm like, what is it? So remember, watch the replay and drop in your email so I can send you the recording with the golden nuggets. You can either private message me or send me a message on here. So I have your email address. So I can send that across. And look after yourself. And remember that you're more powerful than people want to tell you. Yeah? And thank you for turning up, and I do apologise for the freezing, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. And the homework, the post was put up a little bit early. It was meant to go up tomorrow morning, but it went up today. Day 2, have you asked your body a question? I want for you to ask your body a question before we come onto the call tomorrow, okay? So that is what your assignment is. Your project is, whatever you want to call it, your challenge question is to communicate with your body. And please drop into yesterday's question. Please drop in there what it is that you want to get out of this 5 days. Set the intention of what you want to get out in 5 days. No, you might not achieve it, but you know what? You could achieve it. You just never know. But if you don't have an intention, then you'll probably achieve nothing. So have a beautiful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.